Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Previously, we have discussed about research design, in which we have one by one discussed that after generating the hypothesis, after development of the hypothesis, we need to identify the way of data collection. Means either we can go for qualitative data collection or quantitative data collection, and what type of time horizon we will need to select, and what type of data analysis we can use. Now, after clarifying the research design, the next topic is selecting the sample. Selecting sample means, for example, we have a population, we have customers where we have to collect the data, and the customers are in huge numbers. We cannot reach to every single customers. So to uh, minimize time that we have, our cost, to minimize the cost, to minimize these things, we have to select the samples, the persons for data collection, but these samples should be representative. For example, we need to collect data from university, from our university, and we have almost 8,000 students. And for the research purpose and for data collection, we cannot reach to every student in 8,000. It will be too much time taking, and it will be a huge costly when we try to reach to a single uh, unit, a single respondent in the whole population. For that purpose, we need to select a sample. We need to select the number of people that should be representative to the whole population. This is called sampling, selecting the sample. Okay, the objective of today's topic are need for sampling in research. We will discuss why we need to select the sample, types of samples. So there are different types of sampling techniques that we will discuss. Selecting appropriate sampling technique, uh, assessing the representative of the respondents. So after selecting the appropriate or suitable sampling technique, we should to assess that sample that we have choose, that sampling technique that we will use to select the sample, and that should be representative. The respondents should be representative to whole population. Generalizing the findings of the research drawn from the selected sample. Then we will also discuss how can we generalize, either that findings are generalizable or not. Selecting a research sample, population, sample, and individual case. That we have already discussed the example. For example, we need to collect the data from students in our university, and whole 8,000 students, number of students are our whole population, and every student is a case or element. And if we select 1,000 students from 8,000 students using different sampling techniques, that would be a sample. Okay, population is a whole number of people, whole number of employees, whole number of elements that involved in research. Every single individual, every single case is in population, a person is a case, an element. And the sample where we want to collect the data, it would be a sample. Need for research sample. Why we need to collect the sample? We may to reach every respondent, every element, every case of the population. But in the case the population is huge, the number of participants are huge, we need to select a sample. Census refers to collect and analyze data from every possible case or group member. If the number of participants, if the population is small, we can use census. We can collect data from every respondent. We cannot need, we, we have no need to select the sample if the respondents are low in number. Sampling a valid alternative to a census when a survey of entire population is impractical. If the population is huge, to reach every respondent is impracticable. So we can't reach to every respondent because it is time taking, because it is costly. Budget constraints restrict data collection. So if we have low budget, we can't reach to every respondent, every person, every case in our population. So we need to use sampling. Time constraints restrict data collection. If your organization or your university give you 6 months, 3 months for a research project, so due to lack of time, you can't reach to every student, to every participant. So you need to select the sample. Results from data collection are needed quickly. So these are the reasons why we need to select the sample. Sampling techniques. So there are two sampling techniques: probability or representative sampling, and non-probability judgmental sampling. It is also called judgmental sampling. The probability sampling of each case being selected from the known population. If you have known population, for example, in a university or an organization, we have a population of 2,000 people and we know the respondents. We have their contact numbers, the list of respondents, their designations, their email addresses, for example. So we can select probability sampling because the population is known. So we can draw on the sample using probability sampling. Maybe we can select 100 sample from 2000, maybe 300 sample from the 2000 people using simple random sampling and randomly select the samples because we know the population. If the population is unknown, for example, we collect the data from customers and the customer of products are scattered in whole population, whole country, a whole city, and the number of customers and number of respondents are huge, and we don't have any information about the participants, the number of participants, their addresses, their contact numbers. In this case, where the population is unknown, we have to select non-probability or judgmental sampling techniques. What is non-probability sampling? The probability of each case being selected from the total population is not known. There are different types of probability, non-probability samplings. Probability sampling, simple random sampling, then systematic sampling, stratified random sampling, cluster sampling, and if we use random sampling, stratified systematic sampling, it is called multi-stage sampling. Non-probability sampling is quota sampling, is type non-probability sampling, purposive sampling. In purposive sampling, we can select extreme cases, homogeneous cases, heterogeneous cases, critical case, and typical case. And the snowball sampling is also a type of non-probability sampling, and self-selection and convenience sampling. So these are the sampling types are comes under the probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling, representative sampling, it is also called representative sampling. The four-stage process. First of all, we need to identify the suitable sampling frame, a list of all cases in the population based on our research objectives. So if we want to use probability sampling, so we have to identify the suitable sampling frame. Sampling frame means a list of all cases For example, in the population we have 2000 people, so we should have the list of that 2000 peoples. Then we can select uh, sampling, probability sampling. Number two is decide on suitable sampling size. Then using different methods, we need to decide the suitable sample size. Maybe if we have a total population of 1000, using different methods, different formulas, we can judge, we can decide what number of sample is suitable. Select the appropriate technique and the sample. Then we need to select the appropriate technique in probability sampling, and maybe random sampling, simple random sampling, systematic sampling, multi-stage sampling. It depends. Check that the sample is representative. Then we have to check that the sample that we have selected, it should be representative whole population. Probability sampling, sampling frame. Sampling frame for any probability sampling is a complete list of all cases in the population from which your sample will be drawn. So what is sampling frame? Sampling frame is a list of population where you select your sample, where you draw your sample. I request you people, please read the checklist so you can understand easily what is sampling frame. Identifying a suitable sample frame. So how can we identify suitable sample frame? These are the guidelines and here's the key points which help us to identify the suitable sampling frame. Missing elements, some members of the population are not included in the frame. So we should not miss the elements. If we miss the sample, miss the elements, there might be a chance that our population, that our sample is not representative. Foreign elements, the non-members of the population are included. So maybe by mistake, a repetition of the data, the non-members are included in the population. For example, we can, if we want to collect the data from customers, and that should be male, and that should be aged between 20 to 25 years, but the participants maybe included a female, maybe included a person who has 35 years old. These are foreign elements, non-members. So if we select the non-members, then there are chances the sample may be not represented the whole population. Duplicate entries, a member of the population is surveyed more than once. So if we mistakenly add participants double or triple, then there is chances the sample uh, may not be represented the whole population. Groups are clusters. The frame list clusters instead of individuals. So if we can use to clusters and we use frame list clusters instead of individuals, then there may be a chance the sample may not be representative. The data should be up to date. So if the data is up to date, then there is chances the sample frame would be up to date, the sample frame would be accurate, the sample frame would be suitable, and we can select the sample that would be appropriate, that would be representative. And then validity and reliability. We will also discuss the validity and reliability of the sampling in coming slides. Sample size. Choose of sample size is influenced by confidence needed in the data. So how much the sample size is suitable, it depends. Confidence needed in the data. If we have not so much confidence, and if we are not 100% confidence on data, we have to collect the data from more and more respondents. Types of analysis, statistical tests to be undertaken. So what type of analysis, what type of statistical test we want to use, this is also a guidance for a sample size. uh, Size of the sample, population, and distribution. If the population is large and it is distributed or it is scattered to the whole region, the whole country, then the sample size may be different. This is one of the example, one of the guidelines about the sample. What should be sample size? The table 7.1, sample size for different sizes of population at 95 confidence level, assuming data are collected from all cases in the sample. For example, we have 50 population. So if margin of error is 5%, then we have to select 44 participants, 44 people in our sample. If when the margin of error will be decreased, will be low, the sample should be high. For example, if we have a margin of error 1%, then we have to select whole sample, whole population. If we have total population 1000, we an error margin of error is 5%, then 278 sample size is enough. If we have margin of error at 1% and population is 1000, then we have to select 906 people. So this table is a guide for how should be sample size, how much the sample size is suitable. The importance of response rate, key considerations, non-respondents and analysis of refusals. Then how can we assure the response rate? These things are depends, these things are affect the response rate. For example, refusals, maybe for data collection, some kind of data collection, the refusals are so high. For example, we need to collect data from female participants, and in our country, in our culture, the females are mostly try to avoid these types of things. Maybe the refusal rate is high in these studies. Then the ineligibility. For example, we consider participants ineligibly in our study, then the response rate, the accurate response rate, the actual response rate will be low. In ability to locate the respondent. If we are unable to locate the respondent, where is our respondent? It also affect the response rate. Respondent located but unable to make contact. This thing also will affect the response rate. Obtaining a representative sampling. Calculate the total and active response rate. Then how we can obtain a representative sample. And there are two things, calculating the total active response rates. Total response rates is equal to total number of responses divided by total number in sample minus ineligible. And what is active response rate? Total number of responses, total number in sample minus ineligible plus unreachable. Estimating response rate and sample size. Actual sample size required is equal to minimum sample size multiplied by 100 divided by estimated rate. So how can we calculate the response rate, active response rate, and response rate? If we view this slide, we can understand easily how can we examine active response rate and response rate. So you people should read this slide, and this is so easy. For example, In this case, Ming had decided to administer a telephone questionnaire to people whom had left the company's employment over the past 5 years. He obtained a list of 1034 people who had left over the period and selected 50% sample. Unfortunately, he could obtain current telephone numbers for only 311 of the 517 ex-employees who made up his total sample. Of these 311 people who were potentially reachable, he obtained a response rate of 147. In addition, his list of people who had left his company was inaccurate, and 9 of those he contacted were ineligible to respond, having left the company over 5 years earlier. इस केस में बेसिकली उन्होंने क्या किया है कि जो लोग जॉब छोड़ गए हैं या कंपनी छोड़ गए हैं उनसे डेटा लिया है, बट सबसे पहले उसने टोटल जो लिस्ट थी उसके पास वो 1034 की थी, उसमें से उसने जो सैंपल सेलेक्ट किया वो 50% का किया। 50% जो थे वो 517 थे, बट चूंकि 5 साल हो चुके हैं, अब उनके पास जो कॉन्टैक्ट्स हैं वो पुराने हैं, हो सकता है कि रिस्पोंडेंट्स जो है वो जगह भी छोड़ गए हैं या वो अनरीचेबल है। तो इस वजह से जो उसका फाइनल रिस्पांस रेट या फाइनल सैंपल साइज है वो 147 है। तो कैसे कैलकुलेट किया उसने? हिज टोटल रिस्पांस रेट इज इक्वल टू obtained sample is 147 divided by estimated sample size minus uneligible। तो इस तरह से करके जो उसका रिस्पांस रेट आएगा वो 28.9% आता है। एक्टिव रिस्पांस रेट कितना है? 147 divided by number of people available 311 minus 9 is equal to 147 by 302, and active response rate is 48%, 48.7%. So in this way we can calculate the response rate and active response rate. Calculation of actual response rate. How can we calculate the actual response rate? You people can read the slide text and easily calculate the actual response rate using this formula. By selecting an appropriate probability sampling technique, there are 5 main techniques used for the probability sampling. Simple random sampling. A simple random sample is a subset of statistical population in which each member of the subset has an equal probability of being chosen. For example, in a class of 50 people, we want to collect the data and randomly we select respondent. For example, respondent number 1, then randomly respondent number 3, then again respondent number 3, 6, 7, like this. We can randomly select the participants from population and then we can select collect the data. Systematic sampling, it involves you to selecting the sample at regular intervals of the sampling frame. To do this, you number each of the case in your sample frame with the unique number. The first case number is 0, then second one, and so on. Select the first case using a random number, calculate the sampling fraction, select subsequent cases, systematically use the sampling fraction to determine the frequency of selection. Sampling fraction is equal to actual sample size divided by total population. सिंपल रैंडम सैम्पलिंग में हम क्या करते हैं, रैंडमली जो है वो सिलेक्ट कर लेते हैं पार्टिसिपेंट्स को। सिस्टमैटिक सैम्पलिंग में क्या करते हैं, सिस्टमैटिकली जो है वो एक ही इंटरवल के बाद जो है वो हम सिलेक्ट करते हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल हमारे पास जो है वो फ्रैक्शन निकलती है 1/4, तो हम क्या करेंगे, पहला केस जो होगा वो 0 होगा, उसके बाद 4, देन उसके बाद गैप करेंगे 4 का, देन उसके बाद गैप करेंगे 4 का। सेम इंटरवल के साथ हम जो है वो पार्टिसिपेंट जो है वो सिलेक्ट कर सकते हैं। इट इज कॉल्ड सिस्टमैटिक सैम्पलिंग। सैम्पलिंग फ्रेम कैसे कलेक्ट करते हैं, ये उसकी एग्जांपल है। इसमें हमारे पास जो है वो एक्चुअल सैंपल साइज जो है वो 300 है, टोटल पॉपुलेशन जो है वो 1500 है। इसको डिवाइड कर देंगे तो ये 1/5 है। तो अब हम क्या करेंगे, पहला केस जो 0 होगा, उसके बाद हम पहला नंबर जो 0 होगा उस पहले जो है हम उसको 0 नंबर देंगे और फर्स्ट केस जो होगा उसको रैंडमली सिलेक्ट करेंगे। उसके बाद फिर जो सिस्टमेटिक जो हमने इंटरवल करना है वो, चूंकि फ्रैक्शन 1/5 है तो 5 का इंटरवल करेंगे। यहाँ पे फर्स्ट केस जो है उसने रैंडमली सिलेक्ट किया जो 2 है, यानी कि जो नंबर 2 पे रिस्पॉन्डेंट है उसको सिलेक्ट किया। उसके बाद वो जो इंटरवल दे रहा है वो 5 का दे रहा है। देन वी हैव टू गिव interval systematically. It depends on our fraction. So here the fraction is 5. So the researcher select the case, first case is selected by random sampling. Then he give interval of 5 numbers and select people's uh, select respondents using this way. Then there is a stratified random sampling. Stratified random sampling is a method of sampling that involves the division of population into smaller groups known as strata. In stratified random sampling or stratification, the strata are formed based on members' shared attributes or characteristics, for example, age, gender. Stratified random sampling is also called proportion random sampling or quota sampling. We could create population groups based on gender, age, range, country, and nationality, or their career backgrounds. Public or private random sampling, systematic sampling is then drawn from the strata. Stratified random sampling में क्या होता है, हम पार्टिसिपेंट की जो शेयर्ड करेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल एज है जो सब में पाई जाती हैं शेयर करेक्टरिस्टिक्स, उनका जेंडर है, जो रेस है, अदर करेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं, उनकी बेस पे जो है हम वो पार्टिसिपेंट को सिलेक्ट करते हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल हम अपने प्रोडक्ट के लिए जो है वो कस्टमर से डेटा ले रहे हैं, उसके बाद हम देखते हैं जो सारे मेल हैं हम वो सिलेक्ट कर लें। मेल के अंदर जो एज 20 ईयर्स वाले हैं हम उनको सिलेक्ट कर सकते हैं। इस तरह से हम अपना इसको सिलेक्ट कर सकते हैं। देन क्लस्टर सैम्पलिंग, divide the population in discrete groups, clusters prior to sampling. Sampling frame is complete list of clusters rather than participants. So in cluster sampling, the sampling frame would be a cluster, not a participants. So in this way, we can select the clusters randomly, and using simple random sampling, we can select respondents from the each cluster. This is a example of stratified random sampling. There are two clusters, public sectors cluster and private sector. So in these clusters, we can select the respondents randomly. In cluster sampling, for cluster sampling, your sampling frame is the complete list of clusters rather than a complete list of individual cases with the population. You then select a few clusters, normally using simple random sampling. Data are then collected from every case within the selected clusters. The technique has three main stages. बेसिकली क्लस्टर सैम्पलिंग में हम क्या करते हैं, पहले क्लस्टर्स बनाते हैं, फिर क्लस्टर्स को जो है वो हम रैंडमली सिलेक्ट करके उसमें से जो है वो डेटा कलेक्ट कर लेते हैं। There are three stages are involved in cluster sampling. Choose the cluster grouping for your sampling frame. सबसे पहले तो आप जो है वो जो रिसर्चर है वो जो क्लस्टर जो है वो ग्रुप को चूज करेगा। नंबर ईच ऑफ द क्लस्टर विद यूनिक नंबर, then we have to assign a unique number to the cluster. The first cluster is numbered as 0, इसी तरह से जिस तरह हमने स्ट्रेटिफाइड सैम्पलिंग की थी और पहला नंबर 0 दिया था, इस तरह हम क्लस्टर को जो है वो 0 नंबर देंगे. Select your sample using some random sampling. The groups are termed clusters in the form of sampling and can be based on any naturally occurring grouping. For example, you cluster your data by type of manufacturing from a geographical area. For example, our unit in clusters are this is this is guidelines how we can select sample, how we can collect data using a cluster sampling. Then multi-stage sampling or multi-stage cluster sampling. Multi-stage cluster sampling is development of cluster sampling. So using cluster sampling, we can collect data or can use multi-stage sampling. It is used to overcome problems associated with geographically dispersed population when face-to-face contact is needed. For example, we can collect data from household people and for example, our population is a city of Rahim Arfan, and need to contact, we need to, we need face-to-face contact with each respondent. Then we should make clusters like that. First of all, states, then districts, then villages, then maybe mahallas, then maybe households. In this way, using multi-stage sampling, we can contact, we can reach to our we can make contact with individual participant. Multi-stage sampling, multi-stage cluster sampling, series of different sampling frames. For example, phase 1, choose sampling frame of relevant discrete groups, number each group with a unique number. Then phase 2, you have to repeat the things. Then phase 3, if the population is still large, then you have to repeat the phase 2. And at number 4 and phase 4, from these relevant discrete groups, choose a sampling frame of relevant discrete subgroups, number each subgroup with a unique number. Then you have to assign a unique number. For example, we assign a unique number in stratified random sampling. Using this way, we can use random sampling for data collection. ये उस केस में होता है जहाँ पे हमारे पास पॉपुलेशन लार्ज हो और जियोग्राफिकली जो है वो बहुत बड़े एरिया में या बहुत बड़े इलाके में डिस्पर्स्ड हो, तो वहाँ पे हम मल्टी स्टेज सैम्पलिंग करके जो है वो सिंगल या इंडिविजुअल रिस्पोंडेंट्स जो है वहाँ तक हम पहुँच सकते हैं. So these are the example or choices of probability sampling. So reading this slide, you people can easily know that why we need to select, why we need to use probability sampling, what is the benefit, what is the advantages and disadvantages of probability sampling. So this is a decision tree while using of probability sampling. So using answering yes or no of these questions, we can select, we can collect the data using multi-stage sampling. So this is our today's lecture. We discussed the probability sampling, different types of probability sampling. In the next lecture, we will discuss the types of non-probability sampling, what is non-probability sampling, and why we need to select the sample using non-probability sampling.